As a gift for Luke, I've always stayed in my place. But after an accident, I got pregnant with his child. I asked him indirectly, "What would you do if you had an illegitimate child?" He replied, "I won't have one." I pressed further, "But what if you did?" He casually pinched my cheek and said, "Mother and child disappear together." Baby, I don't like hypothetical questions. My vision went dark, and I planned to take care of it quietly without anyone knowing. The next day, Luke was playing with my phone, looking gloomy. He cupped my chin, speaking in an overly gentle tone. "Tell me, what does abortion appointment mean? You're pregnant, aren't you?" My dad is quite something. He never married but kept 6 lovers and fathered enough kids to make up a soccer team. I'm the 7th, stuck in the middle, just an invisible daughter. But I happen to be good looking. My mom was a small-time celebrity, not bad looking herself, but I took the best from both of them. Walking down the street, I'd bump into 8 talent scouts in one day. My drawer has never been short of snacks and love letters since I was little. My suitors could line up from Tiananmen Square to the Arc de Triomphe. I was always troubled by how to make them give up. But before I could figure it out, something unexpected happened. My dad's company hit a financial crisis. To solve the crisis and get funding, my dad came up with a brilliant idea with that smooth brain of his, smoother than a koala's he gave me to a big shot in the Beijing Circle. Worse yet, because of my looks, the big shot was very satisfied. With just a flick of his finger, my dad's company was saved. My dad was happy, the big shot was happy, but I wasn't. And now, something even more upsetting happened. I threw away the pregnancy test, grabbed a few tissues to fold and cover it in the trash. I wanted to die. I was pregnant. My heart was pounding. What should I do? What should I do? Suddenly, someone knocked on the bathroom door. A deep, magnetic male voice asked, "Baby, why did you lock the door?" His voice was pleasant, but it irritated me even more. I brushed him off casually. "I'm taking a shower." "Outside," he said. "Haven't we showered together before?" "Baby, open the door." Keeping up the act, I quickly stripped off my clothes, grabbed a towel, and unlocked the bathroom door. As soon as I opened the door, before I could see his face clearly, I was pulled into a broad embrace. He held me tightly, resting his chin on top of my head. The scent of bitter orange leaves filled the air. He spoke first. "Baby, the person you saw today was my middle school classmate. She called my name, I just forgot about her. I was only curious why she recognized me, so I talked to her. There's nothing between us. We didn't have anything going on back in school either. I've never dated or had any flings before. I didn't explain earlier because I wanted you to be a little jealous. Baby, don't be mad. What nonsense. I didn't bother listening and said, I'm not mad. You are. You're in a bad mood right now. That's because I missed my period. I've never had irregular cycles. Last month, on his birthday, he made a few requests, and we stayed in all day and night. I forgot to take my birth control pills. I forced a smile, wrapping my arms around his neck. No, it's just your imagination. He lowered his gaze to look at me. I blinked. Really, I'm not mad. His furrowed brows still didn't relax. You are. I couldn't reason with him and didn't want to argue. So I leaned in and kissed him, deftly undoing his belt. Suddenly, Luke pulled away. Why is it always like this? With that, he pushed me aside and walked out of the bathroom. I stared blankly at my reflection in the mirror. Even without makeup, I was beautiful. My figure was top-notch. Clearly, I wasn't the problem. What was up with Luke? After my shower, I walked out of the bathroom. Before I could say a word, Luke grabbed his pajamas and went in. I couldn't figure out what he was upset about. He said I was mad, but obviously, he was the one sulking. I lay on the bed, bored, playing a farming game while thinking about how to coax him later. Luke had a social gathering tonight. He messaged me to pick him up. There was a driver, but he insisted I come. I figured he just couldn't stand me not working and wanted to give me something to do. So I went. I didn't like the scent in that club, so I waited outside. To avoid being late, I arrived early and had to wait a while. Squatting by the roadside, I watched ants move food. Feeling generous, I opened a pack of cookies, took a bite, and shared some crumbs with them. By the time the ants carried off the third piece, Luke finally came out. Hearing voices, I turned my head. Luke, standing tall at 6'2", stood out in the crowd. To his left was my 5'6" dad, grinning obsequiously. I pinched off another cookie crumb, ready to stand up and greet him, when I suddenly saw a girl lifting her dress hem and running toward Luke. "Luke, did you come for me?" she said sweetly, looking up at him with sparkling eyes. "Did you know I returned to the country today?" "Huh? An old flame reunion?" I squatted back down, continuing to watch the ants move food. Very relaxing. Another cookie piece, and the ants carried it away again. God, I'm such a good person. The ants definitely won't go hungry tonight. As I watched, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message from Luke. "Baby, are you here to pick me up? I'm here, watching ants." I finished the rest of the cookie and stood up to talk to him. "I'm here." He turned and strode over. I wanted to walk toward him too, but as soon as I took a step, I froze. Crap, my legs went numb from squatting too long. We weren't far apart, so he quickly reached me and pulled me into his arms. "Baby, I missed you so much." I opened my mouth to speak but saw that same girl standing nearby, staring at me quietly. My brain short-circuited and I asked him, "Done rekindling old flames?" Luke frowned. "What?" "Nothing. Baby, I cut him off. "Can we go home first? Enough with the baby. My legs are numb. I feel awful. I want to die." Luke held my hand silently. In the car, I kept my head down, searching on my phone for what to do if your legs go numb, ignoring him the whole way home. The silence lasted until we got back. My legs finally felt normal again. I cheerfully bounced over to unpack the piled-up packages. After opening 2 packages, I got to the one with sanitary pads, and suddenly realized something very important. I grabbed my phone and headed out. Luke asked, "Where are you going?" I made something up. "I've been cooped up in the room all day, just want to get some fresh air." He didn't stop me. I took several turns and went to a pharmacy to buy a pregnancy test. I followed the instructions, and sure enough, I was pregnant. This was bad. I wanted to die. I rolled around on the bed and started searching for abortion information online. I even made an appointment for a checkup at a nearby hospital. After booking the appointment, Luke had just finished showering. I quickly closed the app and opened my game. I wanted to glance at him, but didn't dare. My mind was a mess. After my game character died again, Luke wrapped his arms around me from behind, his lips wandering along my neck, making me ticklish. "Baby, you peeked at me 12 times just now. Was it that many?" I hooked my arms around his neck. "So what if I did? Not only did I look, but I'm gonna kiss you too." I kissed him. Luke was easy to kiss. His lips were soft and cool, but they warmed up quickly. He liked it when I took the initiative, then completely surrendered the lead to me. He kissed me fiercely. Dazed, I ran my fingers over his brows and face. Damn, he's really handsome, and his body was amazing. With parents like ours, the kid would definitely be good-looking too, right? I caught my breath in his arms and asked, "What do you think of illegitimate children?" He frowned, his face showing disgust. "I hate them." "Well, forget the kid then. I'm an illegitimate child myself, and my kid would be an illegitimate child of an illegitimate child. Of course, he'd hate that." I mused. "What if you had one?" "I won't," I pressed. "But what if you did?" He grabbed my wrists and pinned them above my head. "I'd get rid of it." I was curious. "How?" "Make both mother and child disappear." Before I could even feel confused, he tore open my pajamas. His voice husky. "Baby, I don't like these hypotheticals." Luke grabbed my chin and kissed me again, biting my lips with intense desire. "If you keep bringing this up, I'll kill you." Is he a psycho? Always threatening to kill me. I spaced out for a moment, realizing something was off. Wait. Where were his hands going? I remembered pregnancy isn't safe for this. I looked at him pitifully. "I'm not feeling well today. Can we do it another way?" The bedroom had a soft carpet. I got off the bed and knelt on it, looking up at him, but Luke pulled me up. He frowned and touched my forehead. "Where are you feeling unwell?" Glancing at the calendar, he scooped me into his arms. "Your period's late this month. Is your stomach hurting? He wrapped me tightly in the blanket. I'll get you some ibuprofen. I grabbed him. No, it's not hurting. He stared at me for a long time, seeming to confirm I wasn't in pain before giving up on getting the meds. His warm hand gently rubbed my belly. I didn't have cramps, but the massage actually felt nice. Feeling drowsy, I asked, "Don't you need me to help you?" He bit my ear, a bit harder than usual. "If you're not feeling well, just sleep. Don't get greedy." I wasn't being greedy. Don't twist my words. The next morning, I was woken up by my phone ringing. I had no idea who was calling. Half asleep, I reached for my phone but couldn't grab it. "Baby, go back to sleep," he said, patting my back gently. Still exhausted, I rolled around in his arms and fell back asleep. When I woke up again, I opened my eyes to find Luke staring at me with pitch-black eyes. His gaze was different today. How to put it? Usually, when Luke woke up, his eyes were either full of desire or tenderness. But today, it made my skin crawl. Luke? I tugged at his sleeve carefully. What was going on? He was holding my phone. He must have answered the call earlier. Was it something from the call? I racked my brain trying to think who could have called me. Other than telemarketers and my dad, only the caregiver. None of those should make Luke angry. So what was it? He twirled a lock of my hair around his finger and asked hoarsely, "Baby, is there something you're hiding from me?" I instinctively shook my head. "What are you talking about?" He leaned in, gently lifting my chin. "Then tell me what's with the notes about a checkup and abortion appointment. Baby, you're pregnant, aren't you?" Crap. I always like to organize information after doing research, so I don't have to keep looking things up later. Yesterday, I was researching which department to register with, which doctor to pick, and jotted it all down in my note. Luke never had the habit of checking my phone. My phone's always been a mess. When we first got together, I used to be cautious. But once I realized he didn't touch my phone, I let my guard down. I jotted it down just yesterday, and he found it today. My breath caught. Could it be he used to check my phone, and I never noticed? I'm doomed. Completely doomed. But let's deal with the current crisis first. I blurted out, "No." He released the strand of hair from his fingers, his rough fingertips brushing my cheek. Luke leaned in, so close, our foreheads touched, our breaths mingling. His voice was eerily calm. "Really?" I braced myself. "Yeah, my sister's pregnant. She asked me to go with her." Pulled a sister out of thin air. "Which sister?" "The fifth one." "Thank you, sis. I owe you one." Luke chuckled. "Her, huh?" I nodded hard. Her?" Once the lie started, it was easier to keep going. "You know her marriage sucks. My dad's brain dead and won't let them divorce. Getting pregnant in a loveless marriage means she'll have to abort it. Otherwise, it'll only torture both the kid and herself." I must have said something wrong because Luke's smile vanished instantly. He gave a cold laugh, got out of bed, and didn't speak to me. Even at breakfast, he ignored me. I started to panic. Why does he get mad so easily? Yesterday, he was mad. Today, he's mad again. The 7-year itch? 3 years is enough to make people sick of each other. After being together for so long, he seemed more and more annoyed with me. Sigh. Better try to coax him. If it doesn't work, I'll think of something else. I stood on my tiptoes to help him with his tie. Luke was clearly angry. He didn't even bend down to cooperate. Clinging pitifully to his neck, I hung on to him. "Luke, why are you ignoring me?" He pulled me off, put on his watch, and walked out, leaving only one sentence behind. "Think about it yourself." I was too lazy to think. Since he left, I decided to go out too. I changed clothes and went to the hospital for a checkup. After running around for a few hours, I finally got the pregnancy report. The results showed I was fit for an abortion. I scheduled it for tomorrow. As I walked out with the report in hand, I glanced down at the numbers I couldn't understand. Except for the result, pregnant. I sighed. I actually liked kids. Such a pity. Luke didn't like them, guess it wasn't meant to be. Not watching where I was going, I bumped into someone. I instinctively apologized and tried to walk around, but the person blocked me again. "Jennifer, I came to find you." "Who?" I looked up. confused, and saw a somewhat familiar face, Luke's old flame from yesterday. We found a seat in a cafe. I don't like coffee, so I ordered milk. She got an iced Americano. Seriously, who likes iced Americanos? So bitter. I took a sip of my milk, sweet and quite good. Though not as good as Wangzai milk. I'd have to buy a can later. It's been a while. She seemed to be waiting for me to ask questions, but I stayed silent. You came to find me and expect me to initiate. What kind of person are you? But she bought me milk, so I tolerated it. After a long silence, she spoke up. I'm Jessica, Luke's childhood sweetheart. I replied, oh, took another sip of milk. Sweet. Pretty tasty, but still not as good as Wangzai milk. I'll grab one at the convenience store later. I said I'm his childhood sweetheart, Jessica repeated. I nodded, uh-huh. My hearing's not that bad. Seeing I remained unfazed, she opened her bag. I spaced out for a second. Was she going to pull out a knife? Thankfully, no. Jessica pulled out a check and slid it toward me. I counted 1, 2, 3, 6 zeros, starting with a 5. 5 million. Here's 5 million. Leave Luke. I paused and asked, are you serious? Luke's rich. His random gifts often exceed 5 million. Hard to imagine why Jessica thought 5 million would make me leave. Of course. Jessica sipped her iced Americano and calmly said, you went to such lengths to bump into him. Show up again and again. All for money, right? She scanned me up and down, smiling. What do you think would happen if he knew you were scheming from the start? Jennifer, you should take the money while you can. If you don't, and he finds out who you really are, your dad's company and your mom's illness accidents can happen. I suddenly looked up, my gaze pausing on her face before dropping to the check again. 5 million. Enough to last me a long time. Jessica reminded me, gold diggers should know when to quit. But I pushed the check back and said slowly, no need to trouble yourself. I won't leave until he gets tired of me. My dad's way of selling me for money was simply to throw me onto someone's bed. It was ridiculous. My mom was sick, my dad was near bankruptcy, and I had just graduated college, earning a salary that couldn't help at all. After struggling internally, I finally decided, screw it. I'd do as my dad said and become a gold digger. The first time, I was locked in a room, and the man who walked in looked like a blobfish. They said he was the Chen family's precious youngest son, very rich. He was quite pleased with me, but I was not pleased at all. Just looking at him made me realize that not everyone's cut out to be a gold digger, at least not me, and definitely not with him. His blobfish eyes lit up as he approached. The thought of what might happen next scared me so much that I escaped through the window. Luckily, it was just the second floor, and I was agile enough to climb out. Afterward, my dad yelled at me. Do you know how angry Mr. Chen is? Don't even think about me paying for your mom's medical bills. I had a job earning $8,000 a month. To be fair, for a fresh graduate, it was a decent salary. But my mom's targeted therapy cost 5 figures monthly. Her illness quickly drained all savings. My dad, with his many lovers, didn't care about my mom. If I weren't good-looking and useful, he wouldn't care about me either. He was furious and cut off support for both me and my mom. I sat by my mom's hospital bed, holding her hand as she slept peacefully. Using my connections, I borrowed money everywhere to cover her treatment, but future expenses remained unresolved. I started going through a list of people who had once liked me. Unfortunately, while some were wealthy, none were willing to fork out hundreds of thousands for my mom's treatment. After days of convincing myself, I thought, blobfish or not, at least he's rich. After much self-persuasion, I attended a banquet to approach the blobfish, only to find another woman by his side. She held his arm, smiling sweetly like a loving couple. I even saw them kiss. I was stunned, muttering, this money's not easy to earn. Poor girl. Indeed, someone beside me chimed in. Someone was talking to me. My urge to vent kicked in. Before seeing them kiss, I thought I could endure and be with him. Sorry if this sounds rude, but I honestly felt like throwing up. You thought about being with him? Yeah, I considered it. Reality crushed me after all that consideration. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I guess I need a new candidate. I started fantasizing. Is there someone good-looking and rich? Male or female, young or old, doesn't matter, just needs to be attractive. Oh, and single. I don't want to be a mistress. Good-looking and rich people are either uninterested in relationships or have some issues. Otherwise, who'd throw money into a bottomless gold digger pit? Rich doesn't mean brainless. Sigh. I let out a long sigh, praying that the next rich person wouldn't be uglier than young Master Jason. There is, the person speaking to me replied again. I turned my head curiously. Who? Introduce me. I'm really pretty, you know. People have praised me for it since I was a kid. I'll even give you a referral fee. I didn't see his face, just his chest. Huh? He was tall, at least 20 centimeters taller than me. I'm 5'6", so he must be at least 6'2". I slowly looked up and was met with an incredibly handsome face. I swear, if he joined the entertainment industry, he'd definitely be a star. Then I heard him say, "Me." I didn't get it. What? He bent down to meet my gaze, smiling as he asked, "Miss Jennifer, would you consider me?" That's how we met. Of course, when my smooth-brained dad found out I met him, he tried to sell me off again. This time, I didn't run. That's another story. Jessica's gossip was all wrong. Luke knew I was after money from the start. He didn't care. When you're that rich, what's wrong with spending money for some fun? My problems were solved easily. My mom switched to a better, more effective targeted therapy and got to see top specialists I never even dreamed of. Her tumor was in a bad location, and all previous doctors advised conservative treatment. But Luke found a top expert who operated at the beginning of the year, and my mom was recovering well. For Luke, it might have been nothing, but for me, it was everything. He was a very, very good man. I wouldn't leave him until he grew tired of me. Jessica couldn't make me leave, and neither could this child. I liked kids, Luke didn't, so I'd get rid of it. It couldn't interfere with us. Remembering his reaction to my test yesterday, and that chilling look this morning, it was just a small procedure, I could easily find a reason to hide it. I touched my belly. Such a pity. Your father doesn't want you. When Jessica saw I wouldn't take the money, she threatened to expose me to Luke. I ignored her. On my way home, I stopped by the market to buy groceries. Luke had been in a bad mood lately, and I needed to cheer him up. I grew up in a southern coastal city. Luke had light tastes, so we actually liked a lot of the same food. Being with him was easy. I fried 2 eggs, cooked some fish, and prepared a fish soup. The fish simmered in the clay pot, bubbling as I dropped the eggs in. The broth turned milky white and looked delicious. While I was chopping lettuce, Luke came home. He glanced at me but didn't come over to hug and kiss me like usual, saying, "Baby, I'm home." He was really upset. I finished the last dish, stir-fried shrimp with lettuce, and brought it to the dining table. Luke still helped, carrying the heavy fish soup. Once everything was set, I served him rice and looked at him eagerly. "Luke?" His voice was calm. "Do you know what you did wrong?" "No idea. I forgot to think about it." I asked cautiously, "Can you give me a hint?" Luke's eyes swept over me lightly before he started eating. Well, too late now, might as well eat. Otherwise the food would go cold. I scooped some fish soup and gulped it down. Huh? So fishy. I felt like throwing up. I peeked at Luke. He was still eating. Annoyed, I swallowed it. Still so fishy. I lowered my head, poking at my rice, no longer wanting to eat. Luke ignored me. I was frustrated. I scooped another spoonful of fish soup, but before I could drink it, he took the bowl and spoon away. I looked up. He spoke his second sentence since coming home. "If you don't want it, then don't force yourself." He was being so mean, wouldn't even let me eat. I sulked. "Oh." This time, he rubbed my head. "It's normal to be sensitive to flavors during pregnancy. Don't force it if you don't like it." He picked up a piece of tofu for me. "But you didn't eat much rice? Have some of this instead." I didn't want it either. He pulled me onto his lap. "Good girl, open your mouth. I'll feed you." His voice was so gentle. I looked down at the tofu I had made myself perfectly cooked, beautiful and fragrant. I took a bite. He praised me. Good girl. You finished it all. That was a bit much. It felt like we weren't eating dinner, but doing something else entirely. The mood was getting there. I wrapped my arms around his neck, lowered my voice, and whispered, Baby, I want to eat something else. Feed me? Then he fed me a piece of black pepper beef. After we finished eating, I suddenly realized something was off. What had Luke said earlier? I stared at his back as he cleaned up. Once he loaded the dishwasher, I hugged him from behind, resting my face on his back. Baby, are you still mad? Luke turned around. Don't call me baby. Oh, so he was still mad. Usually, he loved it when I called him that. Today, even after I initiated, he wouldn't let me. Suddenly, Luke pressed me against the kitchen wall, kissing me forcefully. When my eyes welled up from his kiss, he finally let go a bit. Don't call me baby, especially when you're pregnant. If you don't want me to kill you after the baby's born, behave. I blinked and slowly said, That's it? He pinched my chin. What else do you want, baby? I didn't respond, leaning against his chest. How did you find out? Luke said bluntly, I know everything, Jennifer. I've already canceled your abortion appointment. I've been thinking all day, couldn't figure out why you were angry. Then you went and scheduled an abortion. And you still expect me not to be mad? I muttered. You're the one who said you don't like kids. I was just following your wishes. He lifted me onto the counter, his palm resting on my belly slightly round, but only because I'd eaten too much earlier. Jennifer, what you should have asked was, I'm pregnant, do we want this child? Not. What if you had an illegitimate child? I turned my head. There's no difference. He cupped my face and turned it back toward him. There's a difference. Our child will be legitimate. He pressed his forehead against mine, his tone suddenly dangerous. Or, has Miss Jennifer never thought about marrying me? My eyes darted away, feeling guilty. I really hadn't thought about it. Wasn't he only with me because I was pretty? I was already 25. Though that's still young, there are always people younger than you in this world. Guys like Luke are in high demand. Just look at Jessica. If he wanted, a simple wave of his hand would attract tons of women. Just like me, I had plenty of admirers. And even now, some of my old classmates occasionally sent me flirtatious messages. Luke had one very tempting advantage over me. He was rich. It's obvious how many people liked him. When desire is involved, once is never enough. If we actually got married, I might not be able to tolerate infidelity. It would get ugly. Luke pinched my chin, his voice flat. So you can tolerate it now? Not really. Seeing him with Jessica last time already annoyed me. But I shouldn't be mad. I shouldn't lose my temper with him. He's a good person. He's helped me so much. I bit my lip. I'm sorry. He sighed. Baby, what are you apologizing for? I'm happy that you got mad because of me. He tucked my loose hair behind my ear. I like how much you care about me. I looked at him in confusion. Why? Luke leaned down and kissed me. Because I love you. Luke told me he liked our baby. Don't abort it. I'm angry not because you're pregnant, but because you didn't tell me, and your first reaction was to secretly get rid of it. Luke finally realized I could never reflect on my own and only made things worse by guessing. Why did you deny it when I asked if you were pregnant? My eyes darted around as I curled up into the corner of the couch, bracing for a scolding. I covered my ears. Don't scold me too harshly. I'm sensitive. Luke pried my hands away. I looked at him pitifully. I can't even cover my ears? Fine, I'll listen, but if you make me cry, I'll go hide and cry later. I won't scold you. Really? Really? I stared at him for a while, making sure he wouldn't yell, then wrapped my arms around his neck. You don't scold me. You're a good person. Luke picked me up and clicked his tongue. Where did you learn to hand out good person cards like candy? Tell me, how many people have you given one to? I firmly denied it. Only you. Really? I nodded hard. Yes. He said coolly. I've personally seen you say you're a good person to 3 people. I said, Baby, compulsive lying is a bad habit. Luke placed me on the bed and pulled a pen from the drawer. He rolled the ballpoint pen over my collarbone. It tickled. I looked down and saw him draw 2 little oranges on my skin. Satisfied, he gently touched his artwork. We'd done far more intimate things, yet I still blushed. Baby, that's twice now. How many times will you lie before you agree to a few requests? I stammered. What requests? The first one is… My heart jumped. Trust me more. Sorry I haven't made you feel secure enough. Luke wanted me to trust him more. I didn't know where to start. He guided me, asking where I went today and if I met anyone. I originally wanted to lie, but staring into his eyes, I couldn't do it. After a moment's hesitation, I said, I went to the hospital and ran into your childhood sweetheart. Luke raised an eyebrow. I immediately corrected myself. No, not your childhood sweetheart, just Snow. I wrapped my arms around his waist, acting coy. She said she was your childhood sweetheart. I was just repeating it. I didn't believe it. Actually, I did believe it. But then I remembered Luke once told me she was just a middle school classmate whose name he barely remembered. He wanted me to trust him more. I looked up. If you want me to trust you, you'll trust me too, right? He pinched my cheek, his eyes full of laughter. Yes, I trust you. I started venting to him. Jessica offered me $5 million to leave you. Did Baby accept it? Of course not. He patted my head. Baby finally did something right. I'll give you a reward. I hesitated. Can we skip it? Luke often gave me rewards, though I never knew who was really being rewarded. My face flushed. At least wait 3 months, okay? Not in the first trimester, please. He chuckled. Baby, your mind is always full of naughty things. He waved my phone at me. I saw it was a bank notification. 500 yuan deposited. Do you want it? If not, I'll take it back. I sat up and smothered him with kisses. I want it. Luke, you're such a good person. He steadied me to keep me from falling. Baby, I'd rather hear you say something else. He looked straight at me. I slowly backed away and said, I love you too. The first orange was his request for me to trust him more. Sometimes I didn't even notice it until others pointed it out. Luke always reported everything to me. He never hid anything. As long as I asked, he would answer. On a Sunday afternoon after lunch, we sat in the study. Luke was reading. He wore gold-rimmed glasses while reading, the chain swaying gently, giving off a refined yet dangerous vibe. At this moment, he hadn't turned a page in a long time. His Adam's apple bobbed as he asked, Baby, having fun? I grinned. You keep reading. He loosened his tie, turned a page, but his eyes were red and a vein bulged on his forehead. But he was so well-behaved. After I finished playing and snuggled into his arms, he had only turned 2 pages since the beginning. I scolded him. You're not serious about reading. You can't do this next time. He interlaced his fingers with mine. Baby, once the baby is born. Once the baby is born. He said that a lot. The more debts I had, the less I cared. Future Jennifer could deal with the future. For now, I didn't care. Whatever happens, he could only hold me and kiss me. Seeing that I was done playing, he pulled out a thick booklet. All right, let's pick the wedding decorations. Which one do you like? I was overwhelmed by the dazzling designs. I liked them all. I blurted out, maybe we should get married and divorced a few times to have more weddings, and got marked down by Luke again. Sobs, I was only joking. His second request was for me to marry him. We didn't even have a wedding. We just got the marriage certificate. One ordinary morning, Luke woke me up saying he wanted to take me out. Still groggy, he carried me to wash up. Where are we going? You'll see. And then we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Standing outside the bureau, I asked, Is this a place to have fun? He answered calmly, Yes. Well, we were already there, so we got the red booklet. Fortunately, that wasn't our only plan. In the afternoon, we went to an orange grove. I picked a whole basket and sneaked one to eat. The orange was sweet and delicious. I couldn't finish it, so I fed the rest to Luke. He took a bite. I ate the baby. Don't eat it. I'm eating it. Don't! I snatched at the orange, but Luke stuffed it all into his mouth. I pounced on him. At least leave me one slice. He caught me steadily. There's none left. Baby's all eaten up. So annoying. He ate the orange, not me. After a whole day of fun, I was exhausted and fell asleep leaning on his shoulder. The autumn sun was gentle. I slept soundly and dreamt of my 17-year-old self, walking through the high school campus, clutching books. Ripe oranges hung from the branches. I reached out to pick one and accidentally touched someone else's fingers. In reality, I apologized and turned to leave. In the dream, I looked up and saw a familiar face. A younger version of him smiled and asked, "Jennifer, do you still remember me?"